Mr. Trade Representative, are you aware that the tariffs have been paused?
I am, yes.
When were you made aware of that?
Well, I understood the decision was made a few minutes ago. It's
Sitting here,
and under discussion.
sitting here, under discussion. So did you know that that this was under discussion, and why did you not include that as part of your opening remarks?
So typically what I don't do is divulge the contents of my discussions with
What are the
President
details of the
Congress.
pause?
Well, my understanding is that because so many countries have decided not to retaliate, we're going to have about 90 days.
No, excuse me? China increased their tariffs on the United States. Trump blinked.
All right, folks, welcome back to the channel. I've got a lot to say about this absolute circus of a congressional hearing involving the U.S. Trade Representative and the so-called pause on tariffs. I watched the footage, and let me tell you, it's a perfect example of why this country needs strong leadership, accountability, and a return to common sense. So buckle up.
What's the blink, sir?
What do you know about this pause? What are the details of it?
Well, the details, as I understand it, is that China continues to retaliate. Other countries didn't retaliate. The president 2 or 3 days ago said we wanted to negotiate with those countries that asked for meetings. That's what we're doing.
What are the
We've had
details?
discussions.
How long is the pause? How many days? How many weeks?
I understand it's 90 days. I haven't spoken to the president since I've
So
been
the
in this
trade
hearing.
representative hasn't spoken to the president of the United States about a global reordering of trade.
Yes, I have. I've
And
just
yet
been in the
he's-
hearing with you, sir.
But yet he announced it on a tweet. WTF? Who's in charge?
The president of the United States is in charge.
And what do you know about those details?
Well, as I mentioned,
It looks like your boss just pulled the rug out from under you and paused the tariffs, the taxes on the American people. There's no strategy. You just found out 3 seconds ago sitting here. We saw you.
we've been discussing a
If
variety
you
of these
came
actions.
here knowing that you were going to be turned off, that these tariffs were going to be turned off, why didn't you include that in your opening statement? Why didn't you reference that as part of your testimony?
Well, I don't disclose my conversations with the president, sir.
These were specific questions we asked you all along. What's the strategy? These are real consequences for the American people and small businesses. I had a group of small businesses in my office earlier today talking about the impacts of these tariffs on aluminum and steel. This is amateur hour, and it needs to stop. What does this even mean for your negotiating strategy? How are you in charge of negotiation if the president is tweeting about this from wherever the hell he is?
The president was elected, and he runs the trade policy, and I advise him and execute his
Who
trade
executes
policy.
the trade policy?
I execute the trade
Did you
policy
know
with the
that
president.
this was happening?
We have been discussing all kinds of
And there's another
options.
member of the cabinet, Bessent, who just canceled coming to the Hill to avoid talking about the market because it's in turmoil. This in just days because there was no strategy, there was no plan. The president chose to take actions that he didn't even have the authority to take. He's put our economy in disarray and near collapse. We have small businesses and Americans who are concerned about their well-being, people's retirement, people's 529 accounts went down because of this administration. We have people that are planning to send their kids to college this fall. People who are retiring whose benefits have declined. Is this market manipulation?
No.
Why not? If it was a plan, if it was always the plan, how is this not market manipulation?
It's not market manipulation, sir.
Well, then what is it? Because it sure is not a strategy.
We're trying to reset the global trade system.
You're-
That has
and-
offshored,
and what-
offshored
and-
all of our
and
factories.
what has that
and
done?
offshored all of
How
our
have you
jobs.
done? How have you achieved any of that? But to enact enormous harm on the American people, which was our concern from the very beginning. Tariffs are a tool. It can be used in the appropriate way to protect U.S. jobs and small businesses. But that's not what this does. So if it's not market manipulation, what is it? benefiting? What billionaire just got richer?
Let me stop right there. Did you hear that? The U.S. trade representative, someone who is supposed to be at the forefront of America's trade negotiations, just admitted he learned about this decision in real time during the hearing. Folks, this is the kind of incompetence that makes the rest of the world laugh at us. How can you negotiate from a position of strength when you don't even know what's going on in your own administration? This is amateur hour, plain and simple. And I don't blame the trade rep entirely. He's clearly being left in the dark by an administration that's more focused on tweeting than governing. What's worse is the Democrats grandstanding in this hearing, pretending they care about small businesses and the American worker. Give me a break. Now let me tell you what's really amateur hour. It's Democrats like this guy, Horsford, pretending to care about tariffs when for years they've done nothing but sell out the American worker to globalist interests. Remember NAFTA? Remember the Trans-Pacific Partnership? That was their handiwork, folks. They shipped our jobs overseas, hollowed out our manufacturing base, and now they want to lecture us about trade policy? Spare me. The truth is, President Trump's trade strategy was working. He put America first, hit China where it hurts, and made it clear that we're not going to be a doormat for the global economy anymore. The tariffs on steel and aluminum, they were necessary to protect American industries from being crushed by unfair foreign competition. But now, because of this pause, we're giving China and other countries a free pass. It's unacceptable. Turmoil? Really? Let's talk about the real turmoil, Congressman. The turmoil of American workers watching their jobs shipped overseas for decades because of policies that you and your party supported. The turmoil of small towns across this country being gutted because of cheap Chinese imports flooding the market. That's the turmoil that President Trump was trying to fix, and now you're up here grandstanding because tariffs are a little inconvenient for your globalist buddies? Give me a break, and let's talk about the people benefiting, as he puts it. Who benefited when China was dumping cheap steel into our markets? Not the American worker, not small businesses. It was the global elites, the billionaire class, and their allies in Washington who got rich while the rest of us paid the price. So don't sit there and lecture us about who's benefiting. Finally, some common sense in that hearing room. Let's set the record straight. President Trump didn't blink on China. In fact, he doubled down. Tariffs on China increased by 125%. That's the kind of strength we need in our trade policy. For too long, China has been stealing our intellectual property, manipulating their currency, and flooding our markets with cheap, subpar goods. President Trump was the first president in modern history to stand up to them, and that's why the establishment hated him. He wasn't playing their game, but putting our people, American workers, American families first. Folks, this is why I do what I do. I'm here to cut through the noise, expose the lies, and fight for the truth. If you're tired of the incompetence, the corruption, and the lack of accountability, then join me. Let's stand together as patriots and demand better for our country. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about politics. It's about the future of America. Stay strong, stay informed, and stay patriotic. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. I'll see you in the next video. Please like and subscribe.